Hello, or welcome back, or welcome to my channel. It is Sunshine Lorena, and I am gonna be wrapping up all the books that I read in October, and spoiler alert, it is far less than the last couple of years. So guys, October is over, we are in November. It's already November the 4th that I'm filming this. I'm a little bit behind on like when I want to film things. It's just, I'm a little bit chaotic with videos at the moment. But here I am wrapping up those books in October, and like I said, I've actually read less than what I have done in the last couple of Octobers, despite I think taking part in the most readathons this time. So obviously my reading plans did not go to plan for October. I'm just in a little bit of a funny reading mood. Now, despite that, the amount of books I did read in October was 12, guys. Okay, so I know you're thinking, wow, that's a lot. But I have to say, there's a few short stories in there, novella, audiobooks, so it's not as impressive as it may initially seem, but it's still pretty impressive, guys. So yes, I'm still pretty happy with that number. My reading plans did not go to plan. I just ended up in this like weird reading mood during October. I had some stuff going on, and then like filming just didn't really happen for me. But I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm getting a bit more reading done. Currently filming a vlog for a 48-hour readathon that's been hosted by What Victoria Read. So I don't want to speak too much because it means I'm losing reading time, guys. And I really do want to get on with the reading. So yes, I took part in several readathons in October, which were Hallow Weekend Readathon, Becca's Spookoclophy, it's always difficult for me to say that. I took part in Magical Hopathon by Rachel Cheris, and Gothtober. So those were the four that I focused on, and I don't think I finished any of the TBR successfully. So that's that. First of all, quickly, before I get into the books that I actually finished, I have a couple that I have, carried over into November. The first one, guys, you might remember this one from last month's wrap up. Yes. I maybe read a few pages of this in October. I really didn't pick up that much because I was focusing on those books that I had in my TBR for October, and there just wasn't any room for The Shadow of the Wind. I still think this is going to be a really fantastic book. I am going to focus and get this one done in November, guys. But yes, I am up to page 126. I can't remember where I ended up at the end of September, but honestly, like I said, it's just probably a few pages I've actually read. So really hardly touched that one, but it's because I was focusing on that big October TBR. The other one, which actually was my October TBR, I just never got around to, I never had enough time to finish it in month, was The Minders by John Mars. I am not even halfway through, a third maybe. So I'm on page 178 now. I am really enjoying it. This is one of his thrillers that has the Black Mirror vibes. There are 5 people, and essentially what the government has done is taken off all like their secrets, all their like really secretive important information offline, and it's implanted in these 5 people called the Minders. No one knows about this. They had to go through tests and training and stuff, and essentially they have to keep this for 5 years whilst the government figures out some other solution, because people are trying to steal secrets, and they're just trying to find a way to stop getting hacked, and people can't get hacked, guys. But it does say, but not everyone should be trusted, especially when they have secrets of their own that they'll do anything checked. So we have seen so far that people obviously have their own things going on in their lives. All of them were pretty happy to step away from their life that they had, because that was part of the deal, and kind of go offline essentially and live their lives for the next 5 years. Everything is paid for, which is a pretty good deal, but they all had reasons to be perfectly fine to leave their lives and not see the people that they know and love ever again. But after 5 years, again, I think they get money and they can just go off and live whatever they want. But obviously in these 5 years that they stay in the UK. I'm enjoying it. It's really good. Within it does mention a couple bits of those other couple of thrillers he did with the Black Mirror vibes, one of which is The Passengers, which I did read a few years ago, and that's the one with the self-driving cars. So it's mention of self-driving cars in this one, not what happened in The Passengers. And then also it mentions about DNA matching with your soulmate, which is from The One, which I haven't read by him. It's on my Kindle and I will get to it at some point. But yes, really enjoying these Black Mirror vibes. thrillers. So I will finish that this month. I will get that one done. I am enjoying it, just not that fast at reading at the moment. So the first book that I finished in October was Ankle Snatcher by Grady Hendrix, and this was one of 6 stories released as part of the Creature Feature short story collection that they released in October on Kindle Unlimited and Prime Reading. I think it was also available. Since I've Kindle Unlimited at the moment, I got it on there, and I actually went with the audiobook of it rather than the Kindle version because I was doing stuff and I was like, okay, it's, you know, 45 minutes. It's not going to take that much of my time, and I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was good creepy vibes, and I really genuinely felt like you could have developed it into a much longer story, like more of a novella format, like a bit longer, even a novel. He probably could have, you know, pulled it off because Grady Hendrix does it so well. So the kind of premise of this one, Marcus grew up believing his father killed his mother, then blamed it on the boogeyman under the bed. Always leave the lights on, his father warned, or the boogeyman will get you. Marcus still heeds the superstition, especially when he invites his new girlfriend over. Is Marcus haunted by a creature, or has he just inherited his father's murderous delusions? The night will tell. Really good, really enjoyed it. And then the next one that I finished was The Wolf of Fever Swamp, which is one of the Goosebump books by R.L. Stine. And this was one of the books that I picked up as part of Becca's Spookopoply. In the end, I gave this 3.5 stars. I listened to this as an audiobook. I enjoyed it. 3.5 is more or less the average that I've been giving these Goosebump ones. They're middle grades, you know, they have creepy, spooky vibes. They're quick to listen to. I really enjoy it. There's not really much to add because they're so short that I don't want to like ruin the story for you, but you know, always good creepy vibes, good build up to what's actually going on. And I kind of do enjoy how they leave the endings ambiguous always. So the synopsis of this one, I'm just going to read it because, you know, again, don't want to accidentally give away anything too much. So there is something weird happening in Fever Swamp. It started with the strange howling at night, and then there was the rabbit torn to shreds. Everyone thinks Grady's new dog is responsible. After all, he looks just like a wolf, and he seems a little on the wild side, but Grady knows his dog is just a regular old dog, and most dogs don't howl at the moon or disappear at midnight, or do they? Yeah, really good, creepy vibes, enjoy the build up, fantastic. Then the next one I finished was It Waits in the Woods by Joss Malerman. This one again was in that Creature Feature collection that was on Kindle Unlimited. This one I actually read the ebook this time rather than the audio. It was only 52 pages. They're really short, like I said, and this one was creepy, guys. I don't know if I said this already, 4 stars. It was really creepy. Like, I did get quite creeped out with this one. It was also kind of dark when I read this, but quite creepy, good build up. Again, I feel like this could be developed into actually a much longer story, at least novella length or longer. But really good creepy vibes. He did a really great job, and it was just perfect for the spooky season. So some chilling campfire tales ring too true to ignore. For one young woman, an urban legend calls her into the woods in a spine-tingling short story by the best-selling author of Bird Box. The dense Michigan forest haunting Wales. The clip-clop of demons' hooves on a bridge to nowhere. It's more than a tale to Brenda Jennings, whose sister disappeared in those woods one fateful night. 3 years later, on a solo stakeout in the dark, Brenda goes in after her. She's desperate for answers and terrified to find out what lies waiting on the other side of that bridge. Like I said, super creepy. Part of her stakeout, she is filming, and let me tell you, creepy vibes. I mean, I read Bird Box by him, and that was super creepy, so just imagine those creepiness, you know? Then, the next one, I finally picked up The Housemaid's Tale by Frida McFadden on Kindle Unlimited because, like I said, I have Kindle Unlimited at the moment, but this is a huge popular thriller. I was like, I have to read this one. So I read this actually while I was away in Portugal. For about 5 days. So I just flew through this one, guys. Like, I started reading it on the plane and read it when I was at the beach, and honestly got sped through it. Her book seems to be like, this is the second book I've read of hers, and they are very fast-paced, short chapters. They really pull you in and you just read really fast. At least that's what I find. You do end up getting that second POV later on in the book. She does like this switch around 50-60% of the way in, and then you kind of see, wait, what we thought was going on is maybe not what's been going on. We're going to get this other perspective and to give clarity of what the actual situation is. I'm just going to read a little quick bit from the synopsis. So every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom. I collect their daughter from school and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes, so full of pain, it's hard not to imagine what it would be like to live Nina's life. The walk-in closet, the fancy car, the perfect husband. I only try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses once, just to see what it's like, but she soon finds out. And by the time I realise my attic bedroom door only locks up from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself, the Winchesters don't know who I really am, don't know what I'm capable of. Guys, the build-up, the suspense, the twists you do not see coming, highly recommend it. I am going to continue to read Freida McFadden's books, and at some point I'm going to pick up the sequel to The Housemaid's Tale, which is The Housemaid's Secret, I think is the sequel. And I saw there's gonna be a third in the series that comes out next June, I think, so I will be picking those up. Then also, whilst I was away in Portugal, I read The Unhoneymooners by Christine and Lauren. I finally got round to this was on my summer TBR. Whilst the summer season was officially over, Portugal was hot like summer, guys. It was 27 to 29 degrees, so it felt like summer. So this was actually the perfect book for me to pick up. I really enjoyed this. I loved the build up, the tension between our two love interests, the tension between the two of them, because they do not get on, guys. I'm going to tell you the synopsis in a second, but I love this. I gave it 4.5 stars. Like, it was close to 5, but not quite. But I really enjoyed it. It was like just perfect for me when I reading this when I was away. But essentially we have Olive, and she is always unlucky, and her identical twin sister Amy, on the other hand, is probably the luckiest person in the world. And her sister Amy is about to marrying her dream man. Olive is the maid of honor, and she is forced to be nice with her nemesis, the best man, Ethan. Essentially every single person from the wedding ends up with this like horrendously awful food poisoning sickness bug, apart from Olive and Ethan. Thing is, Amy had they obviously have a honeymoon booked, and it's non-refundable, so basically if no one goes on this honeymoon, it is lost. So what they do is Olive and Ethan end up taking the honeymoon, agreeing to go together even though they hate each other. It is really good enemies to like lovers vibes in this one, guys. They end up going on this honeymoon together. So she ends up running into her new boss. Now, because they're identical twins and to do with technicalities with the tickets and stuff, she's pretending to be her sister. So all the resort staff actually think they're there on their honeymoon, so she ends up lying to her new boss and has this whole charades pretending having to be married to Ethan. So forced to play newlyweds, they both find themselves much closer in proximity, and soon Olive finds that she doesn't actually mind spending time with Ethan. And you're just gonna have to wait and see like kind of what happens to this one, but guys, so good. Recommend. The hype on this, so worth it. I need to pick up more from Christina Lauren, but I felt like this was actually really good enemies to lovers, so recommend. Then I read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I read this one as an audiobook, or listened to, I should say, read, you know what I mean. It is really quick. It was like 3 hours 10 minutes long, so recommend if you want a quick read. It is a classic, it is horror. I've not read that many classics books this year, so it definitely helped, you know, bump up the classics that I read this year. I always feel like I need to read a few at least, you know, slowly making my way through them. But yes, it is essentially novella with the length of it. It was first published in 1886. So The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is about a London lawyer named John Gabriel Utterson who investigates strange occurrences between his old friend Dr. Henry Jekyll and evil Edward Hyde. It's really good creepiness. I can see why it's a classic, obviously in the horror genre. And yeah, definitely I was glad I picked it up. I gave it 3 stars. I feel personally most of these like classic ones, when it comes to the horror genre, I don't give them that high ratings. The only exception really being is Frankenstein, which I gave 4 stars, but like Dracula, I also picked up Carmela, which was good, but still I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. So they're never like high ratings for me, but I did enjoy it. I think most of the time is because we already know the twist in these stories, because they are classics. It is in popular culture, so you know, we already know what happens, and it kind of takes away probably what was a really good element of surprise when it first came out. But otherwise I did enjoy it. Great quick read. I then finished the Grimrose Girls by Laura Fall, and I actually listened to this one on audiobook rather than ebook. This is a YA, it is fantasy but dark, it involves fairy tales, mysterious, all of those vibes, and it does have vibes in this one. So this is the story of 4 troubled friends, 1 murdered girl, and a dark fate that may leave them all doomed. Reimagined fairy tale heroines must uncover connections to their ancient curses and forge their own paths before it's too late. After the mysterious death of their best friend Ella, Yuki and Rory are the talk of their elite school, Grimrose Academy. Police ruled Ariane's death as suicide, but the trio are determined to find out what really happened. When Nanny Isaias arrives as their newest roommate, it sets into motion a series of events that no one could have predicted. As the girls retrace their friends' final days, they discover a dark secret about Grimrose. Ariane wasn't the first dead girl. They soon learn that all the past murders are connected to ancient fairy tale curses, and their own fates are tied to the stories, dooming the girls to brutal and gruesome endings unless they can break the cycle for good. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. You do get the POV of all of the girls. You do get like alternating chapters between the girls, getting different views of the story. I think there's good development of the characters, there's good build up to like the mystery and reveal of that. This is one of 2 books, so it is not the end of the story. I will definitely pick up the next one in the series because this was really good. I just liked how the fairy tales were reimagined. Like I said, the build up, the kind of trying to work out what was going on, the secrets, etc. It was really good. Highly recommend. But yes, it's the first time that it's really great fairy tale retelling. I feel like they can be very hit or miss, but this was done very well. Then I read Finn by Stephen King, and this is a short story that is exclusively on script, guys. It's only 35 pages, so it was a really quick one. It was like one of my spoop up of the roles. I got the prompt of King, so I just went with a King. So Finn is set in Ireland, tells the story of a young man unlucky since birth who gets caught up in a case of mistaken identity. I ended up giving those 3 stars. I did enjoy it. I thought there was good build up with the story. But I definitely felt like there could have been more in this, which is why I didn't get a higher rating. Like I feel like it could have been expanded upon. But in the amount of pages he did a good job of the mysterious element of this mistaken identity and what was going on actually with Finn. I just thought it was really good, and I'd never heard anyone speak about it, probably because it is a script exclusive. You can't really kind of find it everywhere. It's only on script, so if no one has script, they won't be reading this one. It's not even on Goodreads for me to add it as Goodreads. I did put one of those requests in that is still not being granted, guys, because like I want my numbers to look accurate on Goodreads, but since I do use Storygraph, it's fine, it's on there. I have the accurate book numbers that I've actually read, but it's kind of annoying. Like, hello Goodreads, please just add it on, thank you. And while you're at it, half stars, thanks. Then the next one I read, or should I say listened to, was In Every Mirror She's Back, and is by Lola Akinande Akerstom. I read this in preparation for taking part in the tandem read along of Everything Is Not Enough. This I will be covering in a second. It is the second book. So yes, I listened to this one on audio. We are following 3 POVs of 3 women who are not Swedish, guys. It's set in Sweden. I don't think I said it was set in Sweden, but it's set in Sweden. They're not Swedish. It's following these 3 black women who are living in Sweden for various different reasons. We get all of their POVs. What I loved is that she had people from very different backgrounds. So we have Brittany Ray, who is American. She was a model and then it was an air hostess, and she ends up there because of Yoni, who does have a link with the other 2 women. However, the women's stories, the women don't actually diverge and come together in terms of their storylines in this. But yeah, she ends up there because of Yoni. We then have Kemi Adeyemi, who is lured from the US to Sweden by Yoni von Linden, who is the CEO of the nation's largest marketing firm, to help fix a PR fiasco involving a racially toned death campaign. She is, like I said, she is American, but she was originally from Nigeria. She gained American citizenship, so she ends up going there to be in this marketing firm as a top, like, high level executive, which is very rare, as we find out throughout this story, to have a woman of colour or anyone of colour at that kind of level in Sweden. And then we have a Somali refugee, Muna Saeed, who lost her entire family and ends up finding a job cleaning at Yoni's offices. So each of the women do, like I said, have this link with Yoni, but they don't really diverge their stories. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. Like, it was so good. She builds these their characters so good. It shows you a side that I didn't know about Sweden. I mean, I didn't really know much about how things are there for people who aren't Swedish, and this very much opened my eyes. Also in the sequel we get more of that, so it was quite eye-opening in that aspects. And it was super interesting seeing these women's stories and kind of the things that they face. She did such a good job. The character development, like, you really want to, like, find out what's happening, how these women's stories are going to end, and I was so glad that I basically picked up the second book. Now this is the second one. It does continue on from first one. I have to say, the ending of the first one, guys, like, shocked. I was shocked. Literally, the audiobook ended and I was just like, for like a few minutes, and my husband looked at me. I had headphones in, so he didn't know what was going on. He was like, what is wrong? And I was just like, this book, and he was like shocked guy. So I was glad I was able to basically pick this up straight away, because that had been released 2 years ago, and if I read that when it first came out and that's how it was left, I don't know what I would have thought, but it's so good. 5 stars. So Everything and Not Enough is the sequel, like the second book in the series. However, there was quite a few people on this Tandem Collective read along with me who hadn't read the first one. I just kind of made it priority. When I signed up, I didn't realise this was like a second one, and I had first one on Audible, so I was like, oh, I'll get through it before I pick this up, and I'm kind of glad I did, because I got to spend more time with these women and to see their characters develop further, because between the 2 books we do go over several years, so you do see a lot of things that are happening in their lives, and how much Sweden really isn't changing in that time either. But this was also 5 stars. So Lola, you are the second author ever for me that I have given 5 stars to all the books that I've read by them. The first one being R.F. Kwan, the Poppy War series, and Babel I gave 5 stars. I've literally just picked up Yellowface. The expectations are high for that one. So yes, it's the second author that I've ever given like 5 stars to, like, all the books that I've read by them. So congratulations. But I really enjoyed this one again. Like I said, it's a continuation from that first one, but you can read this as a standalone, because you do get a bit of a recap of kind of what's going on in their lives. So if you haven't read the first one, like, you can pick this up. However, if you've read this, then I don't know if it really makes sense to then go back and read the first one, because you'll know how their story actually ends. Again, we're following 3 women. However, we don't have Muna's POV in this one. We have Yasmin instead, who is her friend and who turns out to be her next of kin. And you get like a different element. She herself also is Somalian, and she again was a refugee, but her story is quite different from Muna's. We still do, so yeah, so really good. We continue on with all of these women. However, what she did in this one this time is they actually do end up diverging their storylines. We do get them connecting in their storylines this time, which was a really nice addition. How they naturally kind of that happened, and it kind of, to be honest with you, kind of made sense, because there isn't, like I said, there isn't that many. It kind of made sense, especially with Kemi and Brittany Ray. Their stories kind of diverging and kind of being friendly, I suppose is the way to put it. But yes, really enjoyed it. I liked the endings for all of the women. There's someone personally that, you know, I mean, was that the ending they deserved? Probably not, but it's nice that they had that ending. And yes, really enjoyed it. 5 stars. I don't want to say too much about the synopsis of this one in case you want to read the other one, etc., but really enjoyed it. 5 stars. This is out now. Also, this is like a gorgeous cover. cover, and the naked hardback of this is also gorgeous. I love this like yellow colour. I love how it's bright. Fantastic job. So highly recommend, pick this up guys. We'll pick up In Every Mirror She's Black first, and then this one. It is great reading. She does a fantastic job, and I hope that she writes more books. Then after that I picked up Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I do want to watch this film. I literally started about five minutes of it like the other night. I'm gonna make time to watch it, but I listened to this on audiobook. Was about 8.5 hours. This is middle grade, I believe. So this is middle grade. It is fantasy. It is very light. It's very cute, cozy vibes. I really enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars. I didn't realize this was actually a series, so I will at some point pick up the other ones. They are all on script, so I'm gonna pick them up and continue on, but it was just lovely. So we have Sophie, and she has the great misfortune of being the eldest of 3 daughters, destined to fail miserably should she ever leave home to seek her fate. But when she unwittingly attracts the ear of the Witch of the Waste, Sophie finds herself under a horrid spell that transforms her into an old lady. Her only chance at breaking it lies in the ever-moving castle in the hills, the Wizard Howl's castle. To untangle the enchantment, Sophie must handle the heartless Howl, strike a bargain with a fire demon, and meet the Witch of the Waste head-on. Along the way, she discovers that there's far more to Howl and herself than first meets the eye. In this giant jigsaw puzzle of fantasy, people and things are never quite what they seem, destinies are intertwined, identities exchange, lovers confused. The witch has placed a spell on Howl. Does the clue to breaking it lie in a famous poem? And what will happen to Sophie Hatter when she enters Howl's castle? Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute, it was cozy, it was just such a great read, and I just wish I picked it up sooner guys. Really recommend. And then the final and last book that I read in October was In Bloom by C.J. Scoose, I think that's how you pronounce it, and this is second in like the Sweet Pea series. I will be picking up the 3rd one, and I have found out that the 4th one is coming out in December guys. I love it. So I'm obviously not going to give you the synopsis of this one because that will give you kind of spoilers for the first one, and that went in my eye. So this kind of a very brief overview of the first one because like I said, don't want to spoil the second one. We have Rhiannon, and she is a serial killer essentially. So in the first one, in the synopsis of the first one, it says, I hadn't killed anyone for 3 years and I thought that when it happened again I'd feel bad, like an alcoholic taking a sip of whiskey, but no, nothing. I had a blissful night's sleep, didn't wake up at all, and for once no bad dream either. This morning I feel balanced, almost same for once. So she is very much like your average kind of woman. You wouldn't suspect that she's actually a serial killer. She is very normal from the outside perspective. We do get our internal monologue and we do see her kill lists, which include things like the person who like bagged her shopping wrong at the supermarket, or like these like really the things that you would get annoyed at in your everyday life. She ends up putting them on like a kill list, you know. But she is living with her boyfriend and she has her little dog. Her childhood was haunted by a famous crime. Rhiannon's life is normal now that her celebrity from that has dwindled. By day, her job as an editorial assistant is demeaning and unsatisfying. By evening, she dutifully listens to her friends' plans for marriage and babies while secretly making a kill list. From the man on the little checkout who always mishandles her apples, to the driver who cuts her off on the way to work, to the people who have got it coming, Rhiannon's ready to get her revenge because the girl everyone overlooks might be the one that can get away with murder. It's really funny, which saying that after describing the synopsis to you is probably like, what? But it's really funny. It's written in a funny way. It's hilarious. We are just constantly in her mind and her thought process, and you just kind of get it all. And her like going through her life, and obviously there's some murder that happened in this, but it's just really interesting, dark humor. It's funny. So the second one I did really enjoy as well. We continued on from the first one. So we've got a little bit extra. You do really wonder about her mental stability at times, but she somehow manages to make people think that she is completely normal. But I really did enjoy this. I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, I will be picking up the 3rd one and then the 4th one because this is so good. Highly recommend. And that's it. That was all the books that I read in October. Like I said, a lot of audiobooks and short novellas, etc. But I read 12 books, which is amazing. I'm happy for that. I will be continuing on with other books, and hopefully November is a more fulfilled kind of reading experience. However, October did have 2 5 stars, which I think is fantastic. But anyway, that is it. Let me know what was your favourite book in October, if you're going to pick up of any of the books that I discussed. Thank you so much for watching this video. video, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you do not want to miss out on any more content from me, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!